I'm a little young, but you don't know what I've become. Can't you see it in my face? But even living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. 僕の未来は誰にもわからない。皆は僕をダメなやつと思う。鏡を見つめる僕を見下げているけど中には大きな力希望がある。 Maybe I'm a little young, but you don't know what I've become. Can't you see it in my face? Demon living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. You can't escape. No one understood the world that I was making. Look me in the face and tell me I was faking. Maybe I'm a little young, but you don't know what I've become. Can't you see it in my face? Demon living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
Okay, music, just stop. Hmm? Hmm? Yeah. Okay. Oh, big stretches from the, okay. And flop. Okay. Walked out of the bathroom, stretched, and then flopped. Hmm? Turn to right. Come on. Yeah. I mean, I don't really want to show it to the stream because I figured kind of ruin for some people. Well, so what I have is I have the stream or the stream beats up, so I can at least know what to be playing in the background. Can you just make this a little bigger? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's up, Josh? How goes it, man? How you going, brother? Why does streambeats keep lagging? Not much. Try laying down for a nap, but Cora likes to scream and play. Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. Are you trying to relax? Ah! Of course, that's when the. Of course, that's when the music cuts out. Is when I scream. I don't know why YouTube is lagging, and I don't know if it's because I have too many tabs open or something. I don't know. It shouldn't be an issue. It's plain as simple to you. Can't keep up with your dashing good looks. Me? You think I look decent today? I don't think I looked that decent. Huh? I will say, earlier today I had on a shirt that was a little too tight, and so I switched to something a little more breathable, and has actually sleeves that are long enough for me, which is kind of nice. But are you fine? No, but the Shadow's definitely feeling better today, Chad. Oh, stream beats can't keep up with my dashing good looks. Yeah, my dashing good looks of screaming into the mic makes it act up. Makes sense. Well, Josh, if you ever wanted to know what the songs were or what it's called, because I know you've liked them before, the titles will be right there. I will say, chat, it's at this moment that I kind of wish I had 3 monitors for a computer, because usually I'm streaming on this one, right, playing the video games in front of me. This one has my audio and my program to record, and then this allows me to well, actually both of them allow me to read chat, but I usually use this one to read comments and do other stuff on YouTube for you guys. But this one is only for gaming, so since the Xbox not on, that's not on, it won't turn on with my computer. This one I'm using for writing, and so I can't read comments on that. And then this one I'm using for music and as a background for you guys, so I can't really read comments either. So I'm having to look at my phone and whatnot. I figured I'd put the background as the music as the background chat. So I don't spoil book 2 for you guys who are wanting to read it later on. And honestly, I think that's the biggest thing. It's just because I'm gonna be typing fast. I always grind out whenever I start to write. So it's not like there's just nothing gonna be on the page. It's just the fact that I don't want it to have spoilers for you guys. It might be a little more interesting to look at, chat, but I just figure the music, this is kind of more of a chill and chat session with a stream. I figure you guys would care more about the music in the background than me personally talking. I mean, I'll obviously read comments, chat, and hang out and pause and chat with you guys, but I'm just going to crank away some books, chapters. Leah, I don't know what's better. The fact that it tastes so good and it gives me energy, or the fact that it's so cold and refreshing. I freaking love cold drinks, chat. I am not a fan of hot at all. Yeah, Josh, Jimmy, what's up? Does the second book, you talk about begin with Once Upon a Time? That's what it does not. No, this second book, if you like the first book, I think you'll really like the second book. It's a lot, I personally think, a lot more action intense, with some storyline sprinkled in between and some movement forward of the characters, but this one relies more heavily on action. It's a little slow in the beginning, and I gave a little recap of book 1 if you guys haven't read it in a while, or if you've never read it. It's a little recap, but no, it does not start with Once Upon a Time. Here I thought you actually were going to have something super personal or something that maybe wasn't streamer. We shouldn't talk on stream, but you're over here alright, now that I've made him feel like it's super serious, let me be a joke. Not your silhouette. Let me know if the music's too loud or too quiet, chat. I can adjust as well. Jeez, it's like whenever I start to type on the Google Docs chat, it freezes it. Of course, that's the you bully. Hopefully the clicking doesn't annoy you guys too much. I can turn on my mic as well. If it gets annoying, chat, just let me know because I do type fast. And if the clicking is getting picked up too often, just let me know. I can mute, and then when you guys have questions or want to talk, I can unmute. Is that good? Okay, good. Yeah, I mean this stream is obviously a little more. I mean, it can still be a lot of interactive, but it could also be just very chilled and relaxed and whatnot, and you kind of just have the music in the background, and then if you want to say something or ask me. I mean, this is also up for question chat. If you guys want to ask me questions about the book, as long as you don't mind spoilers, or if you don't want me to spoil things, I can give you somewhat answers or clarities. Heck, if you have questions about the first book, chat. I can, Don't waste it on me. Stop. What? I'm just writing. Leah? Hey. Just because I say mommy's name doesn't mean you need to go over to her. Hey Josh, you still here? Oh jeez. I can't take you serious. What are some things in book 2 or sorry. What are some things in book 1 that you hope you get to know more or have maybe more closure or information? Just something that you hope, like, oh, I noticed a couple things in book 1. Hopefully he talks more or elaborates in book 2. Obviously, probably the helicopter, because that's kind of like a cliffhanger, entices people to read into book 2. But is there anything else in book 1 you're like, I just want to know more about this, or I hope he talks more about this? Sweetheart? This song music chat reminds me a lot of Tetris / Mega Man. If you played the old Mega Man, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. I'll pause and chat real quickly because I have a question for Leah, and hopefully she'll have an answer for me. What character I'm talking about and describing. Finn's parents, the scientist that dies in the prologue, his deal with the guy from Vegas and the super monsters. So I can actually answer those. Finn's parents, you don't get to know anything about his parents until book 3. The scientist, he's not really relevant too much, but you do get to see a different angle of him and his work in book 2. His deal with, what's his name? Dang it, what's his name, chat? I know you're talking about the leader. That doesn't come until book 3. And the super monsters is like, that's most of the book 2. So hopefully that will give you some good closure / give you some excitement to follow up to it. Leah! I just need you real quickly. Huh? I just had a quick question that took less than 2 minutes. Artemis, okay. What scent would you associate with her? So, for instance, she leans in towards Mark during the workout. He catches a hint of. I put a sweat mixed with. Well, I'm pretty sure Rachel has a scent of lavender. Which I've also realized that I kind of put that in my other book. So lavender's kind of used up. We can't keep using lavender. Well, she's not really. She's getting more of a goth vibe. No, I'm not saying you don't smell nice as a goth. I'm just saying they have a different preference. It's a whole aesthetic vibe. Okay. We got something there. Maybe like lilac or something? No. No? Okay.
I would say more like rose. Or like...
No, rose is too pretty. Unless you might think of more like a prickle rose. Just flower scent or flower perfume or deodorant.
It's gonna be like a slightly like feminine musky or something.
A feminine musky smell.
Well, you know how like there's scents that are kind of like lower, and those are kind of like musky. Whereas like
Now I kind of wish that I could smell them.
there's ones where like
Jasmine?
Jasmine, yeah, that would be like apple or like pomegranate. Those are very like fresh, like kind of light stuff. You know what I mean?
Gardenia, rose, lily, magnolia, jasmine, freesia, honeysuckle. I don't want something so obscure where people are like, I can't relate to that.
I feel like jasmine.
You think jasmine would be a decent?
Like maybe jasmine and rose. Is jasmine and rose like common? Look up jasmine and rose scented.
It's a band.
Okay, so there are.
Okay. So, I'm just leaning closer to Mark, and he instantly caught a whiff of her sweat mixed with a hint. No, because he has stronger smell now.
Okay, just say sweat mixed with.
Jasmine and rose. Not that he, as a guy, would probably know, but
Say
For-
flowery scent. And then something like jasmine.
I'll say like, is that rose? He'll be like, oh, jasmine. So that viewer knows. I want to read to Josh the final test scene with him versus the twins.
Oh,
That's a good chapter.
yeah, that is.
That is a great chapter. Yes, thank you. See, it didn't take that long. I just need a girl's opinion. No, screw your work. I come first. Actually, no, you come first.
Yes.
3 times and then 4 times together. I apologize, Chad. Jeez Louise, I'm just typing in Word doc. Why is this such an issue? Chill, YouTube. Oh, I also want Rachel to announce her pregnancy with Trent's baby. Oh boy. If anything, it'd be Sam who announced that. But no, thankfully none of them were pregnant with this kid. He's an idiot and a tool, but he probably used protection at least so he doesn't get caught. The guy was good at covering his track, let's just say that. I might go grab my laptop, chat, so we don't keep having stutters. I'll be right back. Does that fix it? Shadow might have been over there, chat. I messed with my green screen. There we go, that fixes it. Josh, do you mind if I read you a chapter? Okay. I think this is one of the best chapters I've run so far in this book. And I'll try not to give too much away. Okay. I'll give you a little bit of background. At least as much without destroying too much. Okay, so there are twins in this. There are twins in this book that become some of his teammate, part of his group, and basically, as part of like a test, he has to face them both. And they're modified humans so that they are stronger in every single way. So this test is like important because if he can beat people who have been modified and who are stronger than him in every single way, then that's a good sign for him to move forward and him to be in leadership position and role and whatnot. So this is his like test, his mission, and so I'll read kind of a little bit, just like a half a page or so before the chapter, and then I'll read the chapter for you. So that's as much I can give you without giving a lot of stuff away, if that makes sense. The drill sergeant tossed Mark something, and catching it, Mark looked at the object in his hand. It was a black USB, and Mark put it in one of his many vest pockets, as he looked up at his sergeant with a questioning expression. She answered before he could ask. Your mission is to infiltrate the enemy base and download documents to get back alive. You have 1 hour to finish this mission. Downloads take 3 minutes. Just plug in and it'll auto start downloading. Simple, right? Now get going. Okay, going. Mark nodded at the quick explanation and then said, one quick question. Desmond glared at him and gulping, Mark continued, why do they have M4s? Because he had just met the twins. And they had M4s, and they started to walk into the building, while I, patting his pistol, only have a pistol. Well, in a fair and equal world, little Mr. Mark would have his own little machine gun to play with the other children, Desmond said in a mocking voice. Then going back to her yelling voice, she continued, but life and war ain't fair. Now get your butt in there and get those documents before I fell you just for kicks and giggles. How about that for fair? Mark sighed and headed to the double steel doors. Desmond called out to him before he went through. If it makes you feel better, they don't have protective vests on them. Remember to stay vigilant and don't let anything sneak up on you. Oh, as well, they are live pistols and live M4s, but something that the military uses, and this is actually in real life as well, chat, they have bullet casings that basically, like, they're a grade down than actual bullets. Meaning they can pierce skin really easy, and they can hurt, but they're just basically like very strong glorified paintballs. And military uses this a lot to get people prepared for war and basic training and whatnot. They use basically these it's the weight of a bullet, it's all the things of basically a live round, except instead of it the thing to puncture through your body, it's just really hard hurting paintball. So that's what they're using, by the way, for today. If it makes you feeling better, they don't have protective vests on them. Remember to stay vigilant and don't let anything sneak up on you. Yeah, because they are giants and don't need armor, Mark said under his breath as he walked through the doors. The door shut behind him and Mark took in his surroundings. The building was huge on the inside and just like it was on the outside, but it was littered with different buildings. Even in the dim lighting that was provided, Mark could make out windows, walls, and staircases. It was the biggest laser tag arena Mark had ever seen, but more tactical and duller. No fun music, light shows, or colors, Mark joked to himself as he drew his pistol. He knew his main opponents were going to be the twins, who were already drugged up and more powerful than him in every way, but there could also be other soldiers in the building as well as part of the exam. Mark took his first step forward into the dim-lit building when the butt of a rifle hit him in the back of the head from behind, and with crying out in pain, Mark's eyes rolled back as he dropped to the floor unconscious. Boom, boom. All right, so that's a little bit of a preview to the real chapter. Chapter 4, the twin test. You hit him too hard, Mark's head swam and was in immense pain, causing him to feel like he was going in and out of consciousness. The back of his head was throbbing where he got clobbered, but if he focused and thought for a second, he was sure that it was Artemis who spoke. By the way, the twins' names are Artemis and Apollo. That is the twins. A guy, a girl. He was sure it was Artemis who spoke, and almost sounded like she was concerned about him. His head still hung down. Mark kept his eyes closed, and using his other senses, he figured out his surroundings. A rope wrapped around his wrist and chest, along with him being in a sitting position, meaning he was tied to a chair. The lack of coldness and roughness most likely meant Mark was tied to a wooden chair. Fighting past the feelings of blacking out, Mark continued to listen to the twins. I didn't mean to hit him too hard. I'm still getting used to these powers. It's only been a few weeks since we've had him. That was Apollo, Mark thought to himself, his throbbing headache suggested otherwise. Mark thought to himself. His throbbing headache suggested otherwise to Apollo's statement, yet Mark did hear regret in his voice. The lack of echo from the twins' conversation also led Mark to believe he was in a smaller room. You always do this. You get too competitive, and someone gets hurt. You know you're supposed to You know he's supposed to lead us, right? He can't do that if he's brain damaged or worse, dead, Artemis said angrily at her brother. Apollo brushed off the competitive comment and said simply, I said I was sorry. Besides, how am I supposed to trust him to lead me if he can't beat me? It's not always just about strength, Polly. Being a leader takes brains too, undamaged brains specifically. Not to mention that Mathis would kill us if we killed Mark before he met him. Artemis said, her voice giving off the tone of this is a simple thing to understand, why aren't you getting it vibe. Just check his pulse, Art, Apollo said, ending the discussion. Saving the useful information of nicknames and the name Mathis for later, Mark kept his eyes closed and head down as Artemis bent down to check his pulse. Her fingers brushed against his neck, and she got closer as she felt for his pulse. Her fingers were slightly cold against his warm neck, and as Artemis looked at her watch and counted quietly under her breath, Mark caught the faintest whiff of what smelled like rose and I put lavender, but I can't do that. So smelled like rose and jasmine. His pulse is speeding back up to normal. He should wake up soon, Artemis said, releasing his neck. She touched his face with her smooth hand, and Mark chose that moment to act as if he was stirring awake and open his eyes. Artemis dropped her hand quickly and stood up, trying to gain distance as if she was already there. Not letting her get away with showing her kind side, Mark gave a half grin and said, "You smell nice." Artemis turned red as she became a jumble of emotions, embarrassed and blushing as she scowled at him and looked away. Mark looked at both the twins and cracked his neck. Well, that wasn't a very nice way to start off the exam. Apollo was the first to respond. He chuckled and said, "Sorry, broski, war and life ain't fair. Your drill sergeant even gave you the heads up. Sometimes you gotta play dirty to win." Apollo's face then became apologetic. "Sorry about the knockout, though. Didn't mean to hit you that hard." Mark stared at his two captors, trying to think of a plan. With his eyes open, Mark was able to confirm he was in a small room and that he was indeed tied with rope to a wooden chair. A plan started to formulate in his mind, even with it still being a little fuzzy. His pistol was on a table across the room next to a computer. Apollo followed his gaze and nodded as he saw what Mark was staring at. "Yep, that's the computer you need to find and download documents from. Good job on that." Apollo started to laugh, an almost iconic villain-style laugh. And then to add effect, Apollo acted as if he was twirling the ends of a pointy mustache that he clearly didn't have as he continued to laugh. Finally stopping the laugh but continued to twirl his imaginary mustache, Apollo spoke in a sinister impression. "But as you can see, Mr. Bond, I have the computer and your weapon of choice. In fact," Apollo added as he pulled Mark's USB from his own pant legs, "I even have the device you were going to steal my data." Putting the USB back in his pocket, Apollo picked up Mark's pistol off the table and concluded, "Now, the only thing left to do is to kill you. Goodbye, Mr. Bond." He pointed the gun at Mark's head and laughing villainously again before Artemis interrupted. "You're so stupid." The act instantly stopped and a frown appeared on Apollo's face. "Come on, it was good. You just don't know how to have fun." Artemis huffed at her brother. "I don't know how to have fun. I know how to have fun. I'm just not an idiot when I do things. No wonder you did theater." Apollo for the first time turned red in embarrassment. "You take that back." "Make me," Artemis said, sticking her tongue out. "They're like kids," Mark thought to himself as the argument unfolded. Mark didn't know how much time had passed since he had entered, but he couldn't afford to waste what little time he had left. Seeing as this was an opportunity to put his plan in motion, Mark made his first step, separating the twins. Mark knew he couldn't win against both twins, but if he split them up, then perhaps he could play on their weaknesses. Time to start with Artemis, Mark thought. Mark cleared his throat and said, I thought it was a great performance. Apollo instantly smiled again, and the red started to leave his face. Thank you! Looking back at his sister, he said, See? Talent understands talent. Artemis, not liking that Mark was ganging up on her with her brother, turned slightly red and said, Or morons just flock together. Mark chuckled and thought, got her flustered. Time to drive the stake home. He smiled at Artemis and in a mocking voice looked and spoke to Apollo. Sorry, this is also rough draft chat, so I haven't really refined all these chapters. So I do apologize if I keep pausing. Maybe she's jealous. Yeah, it was him talking to Apollo. Now looking at Artemis, he said, Are you jealous, Art? His comment had the effect he wanted. Artemis instantly got flustered at not only the mocking tone being called jealous, but a Mark using the nickname Apollo only used. She almost was visibly shaking, and Mark started to fear he had gone too far. A slap to the face or a slug in the stomach really wouldn't feel good at this moment. Artemis looked back and forth from Apollo to tied up Mark, and then stormed out of the room. Apollo called out, Where are you going? To check the perimeter! Artemis yelled back as she slammed the door behind her. Apollo chuckled. There, he's the only one. Meaning Mark, like, he's the only enemy. Apollo said more to himself as he shook his head at his sister. You really know how to get under her skin, don't you? He said, looking at Mark. She's not the only one, he thought to himself. Time to step two. Well, while she checks the perimeter, Apollo said, doing quotation marks with his hands while he spoke, I guess I better kill you. He pointed the gun at Mark and continued, Don't worry, either it's a headshot or a 3 to the chest to count you out. I'll give you the choice of which one you want. Mark spoke quickly, not knowing how much time before Artemis calmed down and showed back up. How about a bet instead? Apollo had cocked the gun as he pointed it at Mark, but he hesitated and lowered it slightly. His curiosity gained the better of him. Smirking, Apollo asked, What kind of bet? Well, first I need you to plug in the USB and let it start downloading before I tell you, Mark said with a steady voice. Apollo roared with laughter. My sister may think I'm dumb, but I'm not. Why would I do that? Come on, look at me, Mark said, gesturing to himself still tied up. You have all the advantages here. The USB isn't going to make much of a difference to you. Apollo scratched his chin, considering what Mark had said. And then bobbed his head left and right a couple times. He made a decision. That's fair. Not like it will make a difference. He plugged the USB into the port on the computer, and Mark knew the USB was automatically downloading. Time to keep bluffing and gambling, Mark told himself, and smiling said, Good. For a second, I thought you'd be too much of a chicken to do it. Confusion on Apollo's face was evident as he said, You're calling me a chicken? What are we, in the 5th grade? No, but at the end of the day, someone who's too scared to do something is still a chicken, Mark said, simply. Apollo's face started to get a little red, and he said, trying to remain calm, I'm not a chicken. Pointing at the USB still in the port, It's in the port. Now what's the bet? Mark continued to play on Apollo's competitive, egotistical side, and calmly said, I bet you didn't find my hidden weapon. I'm guessing you or Artemis checked me, right? I bet you didn't find my secret weapon. Apollo narrowed his eyes as he looked at Mark and quickly said, Not possible. I patted you down personally. You don't have a weapon on you. You're lying. Well, then maybe Artemis should have pat me down because I still have it on me. So here's my bet. You untie me, and I'll give you 1 minute to search me for my weapon. If you win, I'll announce that you are superior to me, and you can choose to shoot me in the chest. If I win, you announce I'm superior and you let me go free. Apollo snorted, I'm not untying you. But I'll take you up on your little challenge. If you're lying about the weapon, though, and I find out, I'll instantly declare myself winner and put a pellet in your head instead of the chest. Mark nodded. I'm not lying, but since we are making changes to the rules, and you're not going to untie me, I'm only going to give you 30 seconds. Apollo shook his head in disagreement. Too short. I have everything to lose, and you have everything to gain. 1 minute, and I'll find whatever weapon you have on you hidden. Mark chuckled. It's not much of a challenge or a bet if you know you're going to win. Does the great Apollo only take on challengers he knows he can beat? Kind of pathetic if you ask me. Apollo gritted his teeth. 45 seconds then. Mark acted like he was considering the option, then finally nodding, he said, Fair. Get a timer going so I know there's no cheating. Apollo grabbed his watch and clicked a few buttons, and showing Mark that he only had 45 seconds on the timer. Apollo then pressed the button and practically leaped on at Mark to search him, the competitive side of Apollo coming out. Apollo reached first for Mark's vest where he had the most pockets. With the forward energy and enthusiasm, Apollo was inches from Mark, and with that focus not focused on Mark particularly, Mark jerked his head back quickly before slamming his forehead into Apollo's unexpected but waiting face. There was a crunch of bones, but Mark wasn't focusing on that. Mark might as well hit his head against a rock because that's what it felt like to him. Pain instantly seared through his head as Mark tried to focus his eyes on his target. Apollo, on the other hand, reared back from the blow and cried out in blood, cried out in pain. Blood gushed from his nose as he looked back at Mark and said, Seriously? He took steps forward to drive a fist into Mark's own nose as payback, which Mark had anticipated. Right before Apollo was on him, he thrust out his own body parts that weren't tied down. His only body parts that weren't tied down, his legs. The force of both of his legs coming up to greet Apollo hit him right in the groin and at the same time caused Mark to flip backwards in his chair. Apollo gave a quick oof noise as he stumbled back and collapsed to the floor, both of his hands over his family jewels. Mark and the chair slammed onto the floor, the wood breaking into pieces as gravity and the weight of Mark proved to be too much for it. With the chair broken up, Mark was no longer confined to being tied up. Standing quickly and throwing a rope over him, Mark grabbed his still pulsing and aching head with one hand, while the other hand he stooped up and picked up his gun that Apollo had dropped while trying to protect his private area from more assault. Apollo was on his side, still rocking side to side, slowly as he groaned in pain. Mark walked over to him and turning him on his back, Mark said, Sorry, big guy, I win. Apollo looked up at him a bit cross-eyed and said, You cheated. You don't have any weapons on you. Mark hovered the pistol over his chest and said, Hey, my body is my weapon, he tapping his head. Mark added, Also, my brain is the secret weapon. Sorry you couldn't find it. Pulling the trigger 3 times, Mark fired 3 bullets into Apollo's chest. Splats of red, pink, and orange appeared on Apollo's chest, and he groaned again. Mark couldn't decide if that was for the chalk bullets or being beaten. Besides, Mark said as he stretched his back, you didn't have to take the bet. Everything felt sore, but Mark tried to push past the pain and focus on his objective. Grabbing Apollo's watch, Mark smiled as he saw that it had been enough time for the USB to finish downloading. Rushing forward, he grabbed the USB from the port and putting it safely in one of his many vest pockets. One down, one to go, Mark muttered to himself as he slipped out of the room. Oh, excuse me. Mark had half expected Artemis to rush into the room where he had his brief altercation with Apollo, yet the young female warrior was nowhere to be seen. The room was on a second-story building, so Mark ran down the stairs, coming into a room full of large pillars. Mark darted to the nearby pillar for cover. If Artemis didn't hear the gunshots, then maybe there was a chance I can get away without having to deal with her, Mark told himself. Mark turned the corner of his pillar, and there standing right in front of him was Artemis. She was so close and so silent that Mark visibly jumped back and said, Ah! Don't do that! She smiled almost predatorially. You know what I'm saying. And it gave Mark chills. She put her hair into a ponytail while she took a step forward, causing Mark to step back. I knew you'd get past my brother. She took another step forward, and Mark retreated again. He's more of the bronze of the team. Me, she said slyly, I'm the brains. Well done by finding a way to separate us. Playing on my emotions, Apollo's ego. Well, very well indeed. Mark smiled. All in a day's work, Art. Artemis stopped stepping forward, and her face became slightly embarrassed. I will say that nickname caught me off guard, but that won't stop me from taking you down. With that final word said, Artemis closed the gap between him and slapped a baton into Mark, causing him to stagger and stumble backwards. The force alone made Mark clutch his chest, and his hand came in with blue paint. Confusion on his face, he looked back at Artemis. What's this? She smiled and in his own mocking tone said, paint, dummy. You have heard of paint before, right? He smiled at the riling comment. Yeah, I've heard of paint before. What's it doing on that stick of yours? Artemis in the dim light showed her baton to Mark, and paint was on the end of the shaft. Since I can't use a real knife on you, she said, pointing to a second similar-looking baton for her right hand, I was assigned these. 2 more strikes and you're done for. Let's see how good you are at hand-to-hand combat. She smiled a wicked grin and then disappeared behind the closest pillar before Mark could lift his gun and shoot at her. She's fast, Mark muttered to himself as he saw her dart behind another pillar. Mark continued to step back, trying to maintain distance as Artemis continued to dash between pillars. Shots ran out from Mark's pistol as he tried to pick her off between pillars until he clicked and nothing came out of his chamber. Frustrated at himself for not counting his shots, Mark dipped behind a pillar as he reloaded. You're more than welcome to give up whenever you like, he called out. I don't mind taking prisoners. Then smiling to himself, he added, especially prisoners as pretty as you are. Artemis' voice echoed out. Flattery isn't going to get you anywhere right now. Do you know what Artemis was the goddess of? The hunt. Only one of us is going to be walking out of here, Mark. Mark holstered his gun and walked out of the shadow of his pillar in the open, his hands up, signaling he didn't have any weapons on. So what I hear was that flattery won't work right now, which means it will work later, Mark said with a smile. Artemis also stepped out of the shadows on Mark's right. You're surrendering? Artemis said, nodding, narrowing her eyes. Her body still prepared to instantly pounce and attack any second. Mark shook his head no. Sorry, I'm not, but since I'm out of bullets, I have no choice but to go hand-to-hand combat with you. Mark stepped forward, but Artemis put up her hand to stop him. I know you have bullets in your gun. That might have worked on my brother, but if you want hand-to-hand combat, throw the gun to the side. She really was the brain, Mark thought to himself before unholstering his gun and tossing to the side. Stepping forward again, Mark walked forward to meet Artemis in the open battlefield. The distance became closed, and Mark kept his hands close to his face in a boxer stance and threw the first punch. A quick right jab that Artemis quickly and easily dodged. Not holding back, Mark went into a flash combos using both his hands and feet to attack his opponent. Artemis dodged or used her own limbs to counter Mark's attacks until they both were panting and sweating, and sweat dripped down their foreheads. We're getting nowhere, Mark stated with a smile. Though it was clear he was the one breathing harder and worse for wear out of the two. Artemis smiled. I could have ended this already multiple times. You leave yourself open all the time. Though I do appreciate you not holding back just because I'm a lady. Mark broke his combat position and standing up straight said, Of course I wouldn't hold back on you just because you're a lady. So don't hold back on me. End it if you can. Artemis smiled a devilish grin again. You asked for it. Mark got back into his combat position and moved forward. He swept his right leg as he leaned back in a wide arc towards Artemis's face. Artemis blocked his leg with her right arm, and as Mark came back up to a standing position, she jabbed forward with her left hand, her metal rod ready to strike Mark's chest. Mark had planned for this. Leaving himself open that much would be too much of temptation for Artemis. Using the opportunity, Mark grabbed Artemis's arm, and using his forward motion, he flipped her over his shoulder and slammed her onto the floor. The shock was clearly written on Artemis's face as the force of the slam caught her by surprise, and the wind was knocked out of her. Not giving her a chance to recover, Mark tackled her to keep her onto the floor, and in one fluid motion, he straddled her, putting his weight on her so that she couldn't move, and ripped one of Artemis's rods from her hand. Not wanting to put more damage than that was already necessary, Mark lightly put the end of the rod 3 times against her chest, almost like he was stamping a paper. Completely out of breath, he rolled off Artemis and laid on the floor next to her, sweat profusely dripping from his scalp. The room was silent besides the breathing of Mark and Artemis, and finally swallowing, Mark tapped Artemis's forearms with his hand and said out of breath, Good fight. There was no response for a second, and Mark almost lifted his head to make sure Artemis was conscious when she responded quietly back, But I still lost. Mark nodded slightly. Yeah, you did. But that's not a bad thing, and besides, next time I'll be on your side, so you can't lose. He said, being a little cocky with the last bit. He got up and extending his hand to her, he got up and extending his hand to help her up, he smiled even wider and said, Let me help you up, Artemis. Artemis blushed slightly and accepted his hand to be helped up. You can call me Art, she said as she stood in front of him. Then turning around, She shoved him away and said, "Now go deliver the USB to your drill sergeant." Taking the push as his direction to leave, Mark smiled as he walked away, not being able to decide what was the bigger victory, completing the mission or finally pushing past frozen barriers of Artemis. That's when all the pain and soreness came and hit him, causing him to limp towards the entrance. The garbled walk made Mark look like he was learning to walk, but proud of his achievement, Mark continued towards the door, leaving Artemis staring at him, slightly smiling and shaking her head at the idiot. Personally, chat, I love that scene because he has a lot stacked against him in different opponents, different strengths that he has to overcome. And it always comes down to him using smart choices of the brain. Sorry I stumbled over a lot of it, chat. Again, this is a rough draft, but hopefully you got the general idea and conversation and whatnot. And for not being a scene where it has zombies in it or has gunfight and whatnot, I feel like it's still intense and still tells a good telling, personally. I'll tell you what, art sounds hot. I can give you a description of what she looks like. Yeah, Artemis does not like Rachel. She thinks Rachel takes Mark for granted. Artemis doesn't like that if Rachel does have feelings for Mark, that she doesn't speak her mind and tell him, instead is just stringing him along. So even though Rachel kind of technically has the upper hand on like knowing Mark longer and whatnot, Artemis like tells Mark, he's like, "I'm not backing down for a girl who can't even tell you how she feels, and I'll claim you if she won't, you know." Okay, so feeling the way he looked at Desmond, "It's low with live rounds?" he asked as he put in the holster and clipped it shut. Desmond opened her mouth to respond, but Mark was shot in the back of the leg and he cried out in pain. Dipping because of the pain, Mark looked at the back of his leg, looking for a gunshot wound. No hole, but instead a red paintball splatter was there in its stead. Mark had played paintball before and had been hit, but this pain currently felt way more painful than any paintball he had ever experienced. Looking from the back of his leg to where the bullet came from was with a look of disgust and accusation on his face. Mark saw the shooter. Two giant people walked towards him, a girl and a boy. As he looked closer, they looked like twins, and it was the girl that shot him, her M4 just starting to come down from aiming at him. "Why? And ow!" Mark yelled at her, instantly not liking her. "Sorry. Artemis, I guess, was showing you what we're working with today. The weight feels like live rounds, but the bullet tips are chalked with paint in it, so not as deadly, but still no fun. Say you're sorry, Artie," the man said as they approached. As they got closer, Mark was right about how big they were. They were a few inches taller than him, probably around 6'4". Artemis just punched her brother in the arm and said, "It's Artemis." Artemis then proceeded just to look Mark up and down before huffing and looking away. The man chuckled at his sister and rubbed his arm for the punch. "Sorry about my twin. I swear we taught her manners." The comment made Artemis turn and glare at her brother, her face slightly red out of embarrassment. Ignoring the daggers he was receiving from his twin, the man stuck out his hand and continued, "You're Mark, right?" Mark took the man's hand and shook it while he was responding. "Yeah, I'm Mark. Lovely sister you got there," Mark said sarcastically as he looked back at his still painted pant leg. Artemis turned a shade red and turning slightly away from the group, she muttered, "Sorry." Knowing it wasn't any more than a mumbled apology, Mark looked over at the man and said, "So you're twins, huh? If she's Artemis, that makes you Apollo then," Mark said with a joking smile. The man smiled back in return. "Absolutely! I'm glad someone knows their Greek history." Apollo continued to genuinely smile, and Mark's smile faltered and a bit quiet. He said, "Seriously? That's your name? Is this like a military thing?" Apollo chuckled at the question and slapped Mark on the back in a hearty way, causing Mark to stumble a bit, and said, "My parents were pretty into the Greeks and other nerdy stuff. Archaeologists, am I right?" Still smile. Oh, nope. Archaeologists, am I right? Still smiling, he continued, "As soon as we were born, my parents decided they had to name their baby twins after Greek gods. Got teased a lot when we were younger, but seeing as we're basically demigods now, it seems fitting to have powerful names, you know what I mean?" Mark looked at the twins closer after hearing what Apollo said. Apollo had blackish hair that was short on the sides, with the top part pushed back and laying on the right side. Mark noted that not only was Apollo's hairstyle like his, but his eyes were blue like Mark's, maybe even a brighter blue. Apollo wasn't wearing a vest, so under his simple black t-shirt, t-shirt said, "When in doubt, LMG it out." Mark could easily see his muscles twitching, almost as if they were constantly ready for action. With a nice tan, as if Apollo spent almost every day outside on a beach along with his pearly white teeth, Mark probably would have taken Apollo for a model before he thought of the military. Mark then looked at Artemis. She was slightly shorter than her twin, and probably stood around the height of 6'1". She also had a tan complexion like her sibling, though she hadn't smiled once. Mark assumed, like her brother, Artemis had white teeth. They probably just never saw the light of day. She was frowning at him as if looking at her. As he looked at her, her nose crinkled in an almost cute pouting way. Her eyes a darker blue like the ocean, ready to dive into. Her hair was also black, with just a little bit of curliness to it, but in a more natural way. The tips of her hair were dyed purple, which gave Mark the impression that either Artemis didn't like her black hair, or that it was her way of rebelling. Like Apollo, Artemis was athletic looking, but she was also way curvier than her sibling. Overall, Mark found Artemis very attractive. In fact, she was stunning, but it was her attitude and the way she looked at Mark that made Mark know he had no chance of getting to know her, more than at a surface level, the way coworkers who didn't want to actually talk to each other acted towards each other. "Take a picture, it lasts longer." Jeez, Artemis huffed, clearly disapproving of him staring at him. "He's just in all of our glorious body. You can't blame the dude," Apollo said, chuckling as he flexed his arm. So that's a little bit of the description. Okay, it is like hot in here, chat. Does she still sound hot, Josh? Bro, I need more book. So what you need to do when you are done with book is get part of book 3 done. I mean, the goal is to write as often as possible. I mean, that's why, like, when book 1 was done, I was like, all right, start writing a book 2. And then eventually, you know, by the time I got published, I have about 100 pages now or so. I think I was at 90. Yeah, I'm about 106. And I was about 90 last week, so I have another 10 pages done. Man, I want to tell you some information, but I shouldn't, because I don't want it to ruin the book for you. But I like sharing, like timelines and whatnot, and what's going to happen in a book, so I can see people's reactions. Because obviously, you know, like telling you like, oh, this is going to happen, right? You can appreciate it, and then when you read it, and it actually is in full detail, you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is when this part's going to happen. You know, so you kind of know some spoilers, but at the same time, until you actually get to see it in action or read it in action, it doesn't completely spoil it. Does that make sense? Just think that people that didn't join until now didn't get it. I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, there might be, it says 5 people are watching, but yeah, if they're not talking, I don't know who they are. So if they gotta get that free chapter, then they got a little benefit of it. But if they didn't, then you know. But me and Leah had a brainstorming session last night, and see, I can't say anymore, or I'm gonna start spoiling stuff. You know how hard this is, chat, not to say certain things, because as soon as I say it, Josh, you're gonna be like, oh, that's so good, that's so cool. I can't wait to read book 2. Because as soon as I say it, it's not so crazy of an idea where like that's not possible, but at the same time, it's good enough and unique enough where you're like, dude, I like that. Ah! But I don't want to spoil it as well. That's the thing. That's the thing, chat. Like, I don't want to spoil it. I don't care. Honestly, chat, I don't care about giving away details, right? Because if someone tries to steal my idea, they're not going to get very far. And I have plenty of information that shows that it was my idea before anybody else's idea. Do I care if my readers are like, oh, well, Western just ruined the whole thing? No, because if you guys wanted to hear it, you would ask for it. Or if I said something and you're like, oh, I don't want to hear it, you would tell me, right? Before I got too far. Ravenfish. Honestly, I'm 100 pages in, and I don't even think that's about... I want to say that's a third of the book. The second book is a little bit slower. It's a little bit slower in the beginning, at least. But then it's all just action. Josh, do you want me to spoil a little bit? I will let you give the yes or no. If anybody else who is in the stream, if they don't want to tell, then tell me. But if Josh wants to know, I will give you a little bit of snippet. Just a little bit. Okay, so basically the reason why the government contacted Mark is because he has a unique blood type, which gives him a higher chance of taking this drug that they created that will basically make him into a super soldier. It's like a 50% chance he'll take it and it will turn him into a super soldier, and 50% chance that he will die. And basically, it works. And he goes with those twins who are also super soldiers, and most of the book is them hunting down the super zombies to try to, purge a lot of those patient zero. They're the ones that are spreading the disease so fast, right? If you get bit by a normal zombie, you get turned in a couple days or whatnot. If you get bit by those super zombies, you turn in like hours, at the latest. So the drug is kind of a way for them to get stronger and faster and whatnot, and combat them. And that's what he's charged with after he becomes a super soldier himself, is to basically go hunt them down. So the whole second book is him hunting down super soldiers. Now I won't. There's a few twists in here that I'm not going to tell you, so that it's still worth reading. But that's the general idea. Is that it's a super soldier, like a Captain America, maybe a little stronger, whatever, hunting down giant super zombies. And I have all the zombies and all the different abilities and whatnot that are super cool. But they get kitted for hunting super zombies, and Mark has these wrist rockets that's on his arm, right? And basically, like, as you punch in, you can activate them, and a spearhead just slams out, and that's kind of because a bullet, like a normal pistol, right, is not going to really take down these super zombies. They're too big, they're too strong. It's just going to piss them off, right? So you either kind of have to blow them up, which the government really can't do, because if they blow them up, they might destroy buildings or destroy cities that might have humans in it. Or they have to use like a tank round or a sniper, right? But they're super zombies, so they're smarter, they're quicker. They aren't just going to be out in the open. They aren't just going to be easy to take out. So the reason why Mark's group is tasked to take him out is because once you get up close and personal, they can fight these super zombies. So he has these wrist things. Basically, if you can get in contact, it will slam a big enough hole into their head to take him out. He also gets a giant revolver that has big enough rounds to actually do some good damage. You might take 2 or 3 shots to the head with it, but it's still like, you know, way stronger than just a normal bullet. And then he has a side sword that he has strapped to the base of his back, kind of like whatnot. Artemis, they all have pistols. They all have normal pistols to obviously deal with the normal zombies. But Artemis, her go-to is a spear. That's kind of like Darth Maul, where it's the middle piece, and then each side is like a spear slash sword. But then she can also dismantle the sword, the spear, into 2 swords, kind of like her batons in this fight. And then Apollo, he's just, as Artemis will describe it, he is a feral beast in the field. So, I mean, he's issued a pistol on his hand, on his hip, and he has a grenade launcher on his back, but he never uses them. This guy goes full on feral, just straight up hand-to-hand combat, and that means that he has a giant riot shield. Yeah, right, a giant riot shield that protects most of his body that has spikes on it. And because he's so strong, he can just slam that into zombies and insta kill them. And he's got a morning star that he uses. And he just bashes and kills, like, not even like, because, you know, Mark and Artemis were like, oh yeah, before they group up, I'm going to go ahead and just like use my pistol, or I'm going to cut down with a sword here and there. No, Artemis, the Apollo the whole time, just like, I don't need weapons. I don't need guns. I don't need that. I'm just going to use these melee weapons in its beautiful sight. Just a feral child. But the idea behind each of the super zombies is that we put them in locations that they have to hunt them down that would normally be, you would feel safe, or is, you wouldn't think of as dangerous, right? Like, for instance, if you've seen The Walking Dead, Josh, like the first episode or whatnot, where they put him, he wakes up in a hospital, and you think like, oh, hospitals are safe. But the way they made it is like with the lighting, with hands kind of creeping through like doors and whatnot, it made hospitals, which you generally think is safe, a healthy place, turn into the sick, infected, scary sight, right? And so that's what we're trying to do in this book is make them hunt down super zombies in places that you would deem safe or happy, and change it and flip it and make it seem like this would be a scary place to have to fight something that is superior and stronger in a lot of ways. So far what we have is we have a mall scene, a theme park scene, and a gym scene. Places where you think nothing bad would really happen, and that's when you go fight a lot of these super zombies. We have more than just 3 super zombies, but some of them are like designated to certain parts to move the storyline along, and so those 3 were just like, all right, we can weave that into the storyline. So this book will be very intense, very good stuff, and it's less of a travel story, you know, where you're like going with them in every single destination along a route, and more like scenarios and scenes and whatnot as they try to take down a lot of the monsters that are spreading the disease faster. We played Fallout 3 or 4 on stream that one day, but that's the extent of Fallout games. I love that comment. How you're right. That is good. I really do like it. I do hope people will like book 2. I mean, in my opinion, it's very hard, chat, to create something and then build and make it better. In theory, it's easy. Like, it's like, oh, you just gotta take what everybody likes and then just make it a little bit better or make it a little bit more exciting. And sometimes that can work out, and people are like, it's just not like the original. It's just not as good, you know. But I do think if people like the first book, they will love the second one. So I'm gonna send you a photo. This is what I feel like the Costco Super Zombie is like. Okay, yeah. I can tell you what the Super Zombies are like if you want me to spoil that a little bit. I'm okay with it. Yeah, you're good. You're good. No worries. I mean, the first book should give you a little bit of hint of some of them, but yeah, I try to cloak them for the most part and not give away too much abilities or what they completely look like. I mean, you kind of got that with the kind of tankish gorilla style zombie. And if you've ever played Left 4 Dead, chat, you know, something similar to what's in that. Alright, let's see what we got. That's like a Mothman kind of thing. So funny enough, I was talking to Leah last night. I kind of gave this creature wings, and she's like, "That doesn't really scream to me like it's a zombie. Then, if it has wings, it can't fly." I was like, "Oh, I always envisioned it could fly," and she's like, "No, like that's too much." I was like, "Okay." It is Mothman. Well, I mean, everybody's picture. Huh?
Done at 6?
Oh.
What is this?
I told Josh a little bit
It's so bright.
about the Starlight for book 2,
Oh, yeah.
and I told him about. Well, I told him like how Mark will turn to vigilante and hunt zombies for the most of this book too, and he's like, "Oh, you're right. That is good. I really do like it." And I told him about their weapons and whatnot, and how Apollo's basically a feral monster, feral child who he's in fight.
He's like a
Morning Star freaking. Alright, show that.
Hi, Josh.
I need you to format these chapters. I was reading the test.
Difficult to read?
I was like, no, this is kind of difficult to read. Gosh, I'm so glad nobody else is actually reading it. I'm just reading it because then I can at least clarify a little bit better.
I'm not working until 8 anymore. Today's the first day in 2.5 weeks. So I guess
I've been left for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't feel like I've written much. It's probably because me and Josh have been talking. I worked a little bit. I wrote a little bit. I wrote like half a page, a full page. I wrote a full page. Like put it somewhere safe. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. That works.
Okay. You can do that?
No, it's too hard.
Oh, your neck still hurt. Huh? Yeah, your neck still hurt. Thanks for lifting my ear. Just love it. Chinese bar? Like something's paying for it. what would you like to? I can get something different. Just we haven't changed.
I'm okay with Chinese.
You think I need to get something more? I don't really want to eat ice cream.
I was thinking quesadillas a little bit.
I don't know. I'm really in the mood for it. But like some chicken or something.
See, this is the annoying thing. Like, the color difference is just staggering until I go like this. The plus is for her to be done with not as late. I heard him typing. Typing what? What'd I do? I didn't do anything. And then it fixed it. It's so dumb. This is cool. You can play up to 4 people. Okay. Chad, you want to see Leia's beautiful nails?
And then I got pink on my toes. What is this? What, Josh?
Josh has a stroke sometimes when he's writing.
What is that?
What is that? So pretty good. Thankfully, I have never actually This is called Castle Crashers. Yeah, I've actually thankfully never painted my toenails or my fingernails or anything like that. Yeah, so this is Castle Crashers. I don't know if it's still on sale. It was on sale when I got it. And I got it for like $2 or $3, I think. I think it's usually 20 or something like that. And basically you can play with like up to 4 people. Stop bullying me! But yeah, you can play to 4 people. Each person has a different ability and whatnot. I'm just trying to remember how to do it. Okay. I'm getting bullied over here! How many freaking rounds? I gotta remember how to use my abilities, Shadow. I can't even... Okay. Okay, I just want to even survive this chat. This is some BS here. Boss fight? Question mark? No, it's still not. How's this not a boss fight yet, chat? It's not this bad. Trust me. Apparently, the first thing I did with chat was the worst call. Jeez Louise. I'm dead. You feel proud of yourself? I got kids to feed. Okay. Oh, chat. You're gonna love this chat. This is a boss fight. Some of them have poop. Some of them have poop flying out of the chat. Yeah. I grew up playing this game, chat, with my brother-in-law when I was like a teenager, and they remastered it. So I was like, yeah. Son of a biscuit. Come on, get us to the end. Alright, here we go. There's the end. Giant cat. Oh, okay. Get off! Ow! Gosh, you guys are worse! Oh! Oh, you can block it. Okay, I'm gonna do that from now on, chat. There we go, chat. I got level 10 too. Yo, what the? They're shooting fish! Yeah, as their phone arrows. That's great. We had them with the lollipop chat. Oh, what the frick? Ah, get it off! I got it. Get it off! Boss fight? Question mark? Oh gosh! Why don't laugh like that, chat? I don't like that! Gosh. Yeah, apparently the poop is very toxic. Just like my ex. I need to be stronger, chat, to break through that. Oh, I got a horse, chat! This makes it so much easier, chat. Like I'm a bully. The bandits have like beekeeping stuff on it, chat. That's kind of funny. Yeet. Apparently that was an achievement, chat, to eat myself super far. Yeah, I am. You can get different weapons, like right there. You can see like the energy blade. I think this one just had like one of the best ones so far. You can go to different workshops and they can sell you weapons and whatnot if you have gold. So I have 208. I probably can go to a shop and find a better weapon. Honestly, this is one of those games where it's just a lot of button mashing, you know? Oh, I didn't realize I was almost dead. Crap. So this one's 2 magic stronger, 1 shield less. I don't know what the skull bash thing is, but we'll try that out. I want the energy sword, chat. That'd be kind of cool. Oh, the skull thing means it's a critical, so it can be an insta-kill. I like that, chat. That's kind of cool. Well, growing to a level chat, which is a good thing. Oh my days, you and family! Jeez, 1 coin for that giant dude? Are you kidding me? Oh, this is when we have to fight the knight, yeah. You can also randomly just destroy stuff, chat. Like a laser. It's dumb. Oh, okay. We got 2 levels, chat. We got the laser sword, chat, so let's freaking go. Pansy. What's annoying? A and then YT. Gosh. I don't think that's how it works.
Help me.
Yeah, behead him, chat. Justice friends from above. Seeing the freaking thieves thing, chat. They don't even let you, they don't even let you get out of the, stand up to fight. It's annoying. Pansy. He smacked you around. Oh, frick! Okay, I can't say. Chill! Yo, chill! Chill! Ah!
Oh my.
I can't see! Oh my days, he needs to chill. Broke his back, chat. I don't know, it just popped up. What popped up?
Help me!
Bro! Josh, what just popped up? Did somebody resubscribe or membership or whatever? Oh, frick! Please, thank you. Oh, come on, he's back, chat! I just got on! Ugh. Oh, I swear I heard a notification. It was an oh my, chat. What is an oh my? Whatever. I'm not hearing things. I just remember that hearing in the background just go, oh my. Yeah, what the frick is that thing? I can't remember what an oh my is for. Josh, coming in with a membership for 5 months. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, man. You stole my money! Oh! I got bullied. They're mean. I should save up to get that, chat. Increase your lucky finding weapons. No, they've been there for a bit. They're just annoying because they don't die. That little thing right here, that running thing, that's new. Get it off! Oh! Almost died there, chat. Been watching recent animes recently, Josh? Ah, son of a bitch. He's reading the newspaper? That's funny. Stepping on them constant chat. It's kinky, isn't it? No, but I'm going to look where I can watch one called Gate. Why does that sound familiar? I have watched that one. I'm pretty sure it's on Crunchyroll. Let me check real quick. I actually like that one a lot. You sure it's called Gate? I know the one you're talking about. There's like it's focused on like a main character guy, and I think there's an elf in there, and there's like a priestess who's like a dark priestess, something like that, and she just destroys. Oh, I died. That was a decently good one. I enjoyed that one. I mean, it kind of sucks because it's a medieval world, and they don't know, like, anything because it's a fantasy, you know, whatnot. And their magic can't keep up with just the military fright. If you find what it actually is called, let me know, Josh. Okay. Murderous Rage! Yeah, I didn't get potions, chat. Oh, come on! He needs to chill, Chad! He needs to chill! He needs to calm down. Yeah, I remember this time. That honestly screwed me over. I think we could have won that chip if we had like one more push in or so. I do appreciate the bombs can actually hurt their teammates' chat. Feels more realistic. How are you not dead? I had a shield, but okay. Oh. All right. Oh, fantastic, chat. I don't really have to try now. I didn't realize just... Okay. Okay! What a moron! God. So if you play with other people, Josh, not only do you get all this gold, but you have to kind of have to split it, but then you have to fight against each other to who gets the princess, because you get to kiss the princess, and so you have to, in multiplayer, you get to fight against your other teammates. But since I'm the other one, I get to kiss her instantly. Push him to his death. Get in there, yeet! Well, the level up chat was nice because that instantly refilled my health without me having to use a potion. Dante is our best customer. That's kind of funny, actually. That would be nice. Oh no, no, gosh dang it, I didn't mean to do that. Oh wow, Chad, they just throw out grenades constantly. How awesome is that? there, chat. Nah! Well, I guess I could just keep getting free sandwiches, chat, while also raising my XP. No active volcano. That's a lot. Ooh. So dumb. Getting bullied over here. Oh, the music stopped yet. The heck? No worries, man. All good. Understandable. I might be calling it quits in a couple of minutes. The other ones are kind of cooler than this one, chat. I just played it because I never had seen the Thorn Knight before, but yeah, the other ones you can like control electricity, you can do ice, you can do fire. I still don't have enough chat. Jeez Louise. Alright. Well, tomorrow, chat, we'll have a new storyline to do. We'll have Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Monster Hunter apparently had an update. I guess on the 20th is DLC coming out as well, so I guess that's fair. Oh wow. All right, chat. You guys have a fantastic night. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Have a good time. I appreciate you guys all who dropped likes. We'll go ahead and call it quits for the night, and I will see you guys tomorrow with some Star Wars. Have a good night, Josh. See you guys off with some music. All right, bye.